name is Lux Venerea, known in the US as Miss 9/11. I'm known in Germany as Germany's next top bottom. I'm your tragic comedian, Barbie terrorist, performance artist, and also I'm a very fancy chef and I give lectures. I seriously do. Sometimes people don't like to hear them, but I still charge the money. And I live in Berlin, the city where you might just catch STI in the U-Bahn. Seriously, I got gonorrhea last time in the train. Didn't get a Monatskarte though, no one gave me one. Yes. So, first I wanted to thank everybody for the invitation, and today exceptionally I'll be very attached to my paper because since our time frame is limited, I tend to talk a lot and get a little bit funny. And so I want to stay to the content. So first, thank you for the invitation. It is my, I think, 3rd or 4th time in Switzerland. Yes, bitch, I'm fancy. I am fancy, unapologetically. And yes, it has just been AIDS Day on the 1st of December, and I first wanted to wish everybody a happy belated AIDS Day. Happy AIDS Day, everybody. That's that moment where HIV negative people, they are silent. HIV positive people, they laugh. And I'm like, why are you so negative? Why so much negativity? I find it gagging that every time that I put the word AIDS and happy in the same sentence, like, do I look sad? You know? And not that I have AIDS, everybody knows that, but I find it funny that the negative people find it, oh my god, that's so much, that's not even my problem, but oh my god. Yes, it has also been a year that during my numbers I have started to ask people in my audience during my stand-up shows about what being undetectable is, and also about TASP, PEP, and obviously the famous PrEP. So usually I ask people to raise their hands every time I do a number and that I do a joke. I ask them to raise their hands if they know what these things are. And it honestly shocked me because every time I asked, I think only a couple of the several times I've been surprised with more than 10% of the whole audience knowing about being undetectable. Most of the times they don't. Some more seem to know about PrEP and PEP, but definitely most people did not know about undetectable, about what being undetectable means, and also TASP, the abbreviation TASP, which is something that is also, yeah. I think it's highly questionable to do what I decided to do here, but nobody has to respond it. If you don't feel comfortable to respond it, you don't have to. And you don't have to respond the truth if you don't feel like it. And I'm also not pointing a gun to you, right? You're not forced to do anything here that I may ask you to, so you'll probably be fine. And I'm also not that annoying top guy from the first world that is insisting to breed your ass in a dating app. I don't know if your stigmas, okay, there is not the word stigma here, but I don't know if your stigma makes me these people write you. I would like you to raise your hand if any of you, again, you're not obliged. Please don't come to the internet saying, she made me embarrass myself. I voluntarily responded to a question and I felt very embarrassed. You can lie, you don't have to. But raise your hand if you're HIV positive. It makes a huge difference for me to know also. Okay, that's good. We're not sharing it with them, right? We're all undetectable. They are not going to heaven. Yes, raise your hand if you're gay or lesbian. Homosexuals. Homosexuals. Raise your hand if you identify as trans or non-binary. As I thought. Oh my God, I have 3 sisters here. Wow, the world has changed. And I'm not talking about queer because nowadays people fucking polish their nails and they think that it's done. They're like, I'm queer. You're like, girl, Jesus Christ. So my goal with asking these questions is to create differentiation and contrast, because I think most people in countries like this, they are so homogenous and they were raised among so many people that are similar that they don't know, they are not used to deal with like radical differences among people. So my goal with this is that everyone confronts with the space, with everyone confronts with the contrast of other people's presence by knowing what they are and what stigma they have to deal with, because it really does feel different to live with HIV depending on your race, gender, social class, and geographical location. Therefore, let's come back to that guy that I just mentioned before, that entitled guy from the first world country that basically barebacks you via message on a dating app. Basically, you didn't give consent, but he's already like coming inside you. He's like, yes, bitch, he's very insisting. He's on PrEP, you know? He beat HIV. He's on PrEP, so he can insist. He can insist. I find it funny that usually the people who find these messages sad are the ones who don't have to deal with them. So they're like, and you're like, oh, your life is hard, right, Danny? I'm talking about my shit, but they're like, I'm so uncomfortable. I never saw stigma before. I'm a Swiss bitch. He hasn't died. I'm uncomfortable. I'm like, oh my god, so uncomfortable to be Swiss. I want to get there eventually. Yes, and where was that again? Yes, obviously there are exceptions regarding race, but I guarantee to you that the self-esteem that these men carry are related to things that are known historically, such as white race, cisgender race, colonial system. Like, there is no argue about the self-esteem of a man, the self-esteem of a heterosexual man, the self-esteem of a white man, the self-esteem of a top man. There is no discussion. There are like 500 years of history, and yes. So being a top essentially means to perform the sexual position that was prescribed to male bodies. That man makes it very clear through his words that he has a full sensation of sexual sovereignty. Everyone is fucking watching my movie, bitch. I'm talking here. Stop watching my movie. Look at me. Jesus Christ. I'm like, okay, I really like watching this too. I love watching the Notre Dame burning. This was really one of the highlights of my life. And I'm good. Yeah. You wait to see the end of the movie. But yeah. Yes. He, through his word, he makes it very clear that he has a full sensation of sexual sovereignty, even though his free ejaculation is only possible thanks to Truvada or PrEP, Viagra, porn, and contraceptive pills in the case of heterosexual cis males, but they still feel very free to write you. These biochemical dispositives of freedom allow the same man to construct a fantasy of natural male sexuality that is absolutely non-existent to the sexually subalternal bodies. The bodies whose assholes and vagina are potential sperm receivers. Now they have unlimited erection, unlimited penetration, unlimited ejaculation with no physical barriers. Why do I point these white guys if in theory all tops have the same subjectivity? Why do I insist on pointing them? Because when you're black or brown, your body seems to be more positive than white bodies. How many times did I deal with paranoia from white men related to my body? I'm like, bitch, you folks came to a fucking continent, killed a whole continent of people by bringing disease, and I'm the bitch to be pointed as the one who might just kill you. And that's the funny moment where only colonized people laugh, because it's really like, girl, did you see what happened in South America? Long story. Open the book. And yes, the largest majority of black and brown femme or sexually passive people that I know have been asked by partners or doctors whether they have HIV. I have heard this question several times before I got paused. Based on what is the question that unfolds. Not wanting to fall in the discussion whether it happens to white people or not, it does feel crazy when people ask you where you got HIV. This is seriously, and this is how far they go. Like, this seriously happened. Like, when I got paused, I heard several times people were like, oh my God, where did you get it? Was it here or in Brazil? I was like, I got a TK Maxx, bitch. TK Maxx, Angebot, went fast. And I'm like, bitch, do you want to see its passport now? Like, what sort of question is that? I'm really trying to understand how people, like, I got asked at 9 in the morning at the supermarket, they're like, where are you from? And I'm like, I just want my bread, bitch. But then to be like, where did you get HIV? I'm like, so if it's European, it's better now? Is that what you're trying to say? Do you want to see its nationality? Do you want to know if it's mixed race? I'm like, it's not a child, bitch. It has no father. It's fine. You don't have to know. When you're frequently confronted with the question or assumption whether you're a sex worker based on your race, the obsessive association that people do between HIV and underdevelopment gets transparent like a condom. I'm not saying a joke now. Damn it, I hate when I sound funny talking serious. This is the serious part now. So again, the obsessive association that people do between HIV and underdevelopment gets as transparent as a condom. It's a part of a colonial project. It may sound disconnected to you, but when you're not able to disentangle multiple stigmas, it becomes obvious that they are all rooted in the same colonial desires. I do get asked if I'm a sex worker in a frequency that you would never believe. The richer the place, the more I get asked. And I'm in Switzerland now, bitch, so just imagine. I'm gonna open my fucking profiles afterward, you will just see. Even when I'm like being defensive bitch, like, it has happened. And people are like, I am a sex worker. I'm like, depending on how much you pay. Seriously though, I'm in Switzerland. Yes, and everything is rooted in the same colonial desires. So, yeah, it's the same in the airport. The second time I got to Europe when I was young, I came with cash, and they asked me where my cash comes from, and I said, I work. Ich arbeite, bitch. What's the mystery? And then it fell into a loop of questions regarding what type of work I do.
Let's go.
Black and brown femme young bodies, or BPOC as we say, like it's a abbreviation to people of color, young bodies are socially perceived as subalternal, therefore always submissive to men. How many times did I feel highly offended as a young boy with men offering me cash for sex when I had not even spoken about money? Till the day that I actually needed the money, or it just got convenient or annoyed me. I was like, since I couldn't escape the stigma, why not get that coin offered out of nowhere by that Swiss daddy with his sexual sovereignty? It may be shocking for European ears to hear, but breeding and colonization have a lot in common in its concept. It is literally the action of injecting a colony inside of a body by penetrating its borders, and often they are not invited. Have I given the consent or not, charged or not, the desire of these men feel and felt very colonial. And I would not compare that with fisting, for example. By the way, these are my favorite types of condoms. If any of you... Yes, one, two. Jokes aside, my point with this is to tell that even in the times of being undetectable, where telling people that your pause is arbitrary, being HIV positive has been a nightmare. From being fired from a fancy job as a sous chef de cuisine by an openly gay white white man who had just seen my mistakenly sent Krankenschein that I was HIV positive. To the fact that it was around me before it was inside of me. By my family, my school, sex partners, HIV has always been inscribed on me. I heard that someone in my family said that they knew this would happen to me when I moved out of the country.
Wow.
Yes. Some here argue that I only got fired the way I was because I'm an immigrant. Does that sound stigmatic to you? Once my sister called me on the phone after I got paused. It was the first time she called me, and she was like, "Oh my God, it might be so hard to have HIV. I am so sorry." And I'm like, "Bitch, you have 4 children. You have 4 children. I am sorry about you too. At least I actually even more sorry about you. At least I have just one." I love what I said. Yes, I'm like, "You have 4 children and a white man, bitch. You're gonna age faster than me. There is no HIV therapy that is gonna make me age as fast as you. Do you think I'm like I'm gonna take a nap now because I don't have 4 children?" Like cis people really think that their lives are good, or like HIV negative people too. Some like, bitch, look at me. I look fresh, I look young, I look healthy, I smile, and then a fucking like decrepit bitch are like, "Oh my God, it might be so hard to deal with HIV." I'm like, girl. Once I had a fight with my sister where I questioned her homophobia, which seemed to be the problem at the time. She told me that gay people are like people with HIV. You sometimes don't want to touch them. My sister was in college studying to be a nurse. I'm not sure how she thinks of it now that I'm a trans feminine person. When I was an exchange student in Germany 10 years ago, I tried to donate blood for the first time in a public campaign. It was a bus collecting donation in villages. I remember being in the line and seeing people getting out pretty fast. When it was my turn, they took me to a room to interrogate me. After asking all possible absurd questions regarding my sexuality and my background, the long interrogatory ended with me having to point from which exact geographical location I grew up to prove that I did not have malaria, a disease that I had never seen before. My point with these both sad stories is that what we call stigma is actually a system. It's not just ignorance. People are ignorant in other places, but then you're like in a fancy like campaign in the first world, and it's like even worse than what you know. So like, what is stigma? And bitch, trust me, some days I have no patience and I'm not politically correct. Because stigma is a very annoying thing. Like another day, wait. This is apple juice. Here in Switzerland, apple juice is a little bit fermented. It looks like this. This is not a beer. I do not drink beer. Yes. And then one day I had a hard day. I was not feeling good. I was problematic. I was angry. I was like, if you mess with me, I'm gonna come to your jugular. I have no guilt. And then I was passing on the street and a group of people started to surround me, like that very harassing. I don't know if you people have been harassed by groups before, but that classic constellation where you get like surrounded by like a group of people. And they were like young white boys looking like they do Erasmus, you know? Red cheeks, first world clothing, all the red cheeks, again, red cheeks, blush cheeks. And then they started to surround me and things started to get weird and they were like getting close. I was like, no, you know what? I just shouted, I have HIV! Bitch, they vanished in the air. They disappeared. I think their butthole sucked up their underwear so hard that they choked on their fabric. They're like, They left, bitch. I just said, I was like, whoa, the violence that these boys are experiencing. Can you imagine? I think they were from England. Again, red cheeks. Which is also the funny thing. I'm like, this bitch looks like, I don't know, she's, yeah. This was carried to her. I'm like, whoa, girl, are you sure you want to mess with me? Like, you folks, people, you grew up playing snowballs. I grew up playing asphalt balls. The city where I come from, the asphalt was so shitty and it was so hot that we used to, like, get asphalt from the floor and make balls and throw it on each other. This is how I grew up, bitch. Don't try me. Yes, and now I'm gonna translate a piece. I'm gonna read a piece of a Paul B. Preciado text that I roughly translated. PrEP, just like contraceptive pills, are not produced with the goal of improving the life of its users. They are made to optimize the gentle exploitation of them. It's pure molecular servitude, keeping the fiction of freedom and emancipation while reinforcing sexual political positions of dominations of the normative malehood. The relationship with the drug itself is a free relationship, but it's also a social subjection. We fuck freely, but we fuck with the drug. About this molecular servitude, there seems to be no difference between heterosexuality and gay sexuality. That's why I dropped the mic already. I love saying that in front of like mass gays. I'm like, wow, they are offended. Wow, the struggle. Like they go to a train and they see me there with a microphone, say, hey, homo, you know. But they have the they're like, oh my gosh, it's so rude. I'm like, bitch, I'm not annoying you in the train. But yeah. And so, there seems to be no difference between heterosexuality and gay sexuality. In the last 20 years, gay sexuality has gone from being a marginal subculture to become one of the most codified, regulated, and captured space by the language of neoliberal capitalism. It may be time to stop thinking about heterosexuality and homosexuality and start thinking rather about the tension between normative or dissenting uses of sexual production techniques that seems to affect us all today. What I'm saying by that is, at the end, it makes no difference if you're a homo or not, if the whole world is designed for the thriving of your kind. You're not that far from a heterosexual from a social perspective. I'm writing this text for this very occasion today. I wrote this for this occasion, way ahead of the event. I actually wrote it yesterday, but I was gonna pretend that I did it like days ago because I got prepared. I mean, I knew what I was gonna do, but I have shit going on, and you know. But yes, I'm writing this text for this very occasion, way ahead of the event, and I already picture the view that is confronting my eyes right now. I am always the one trans femme in the room. Now I wanted to leave a little bit of silence because I like to make people guilt. No, I'm joking. I'm a very nice person. Yes, it is known that compulsive heterosexuality kills, and that homosexuality is in fact still a taboo. But the neoliberalistic market of mask for mask desires and its phallic, you know, dick, you all know this, don't pretend that you don't. And its phallic pharma seems to be even more concerned with erasing, deleting any form of femininity from anything that passes by. Even drag culture, which is a part of trans culture, has been gentrified by malehood. And I also like to use the word gentrified because it is the same force of mechanism. When you go through the same, like, I wouldn't say stigma now, but it literally feels like the same, because You just have to move away. I have been banned for Grindr with no solid explanation. That's why I do not heritage, like I have been censored and banned from Grindr several times with no justification, without even talking. So what I'm saying is that your preferences have become technology. Algorithms, biomolecular and digital technologies, a social machinery of devices that constructs male subjectivity in a temporary relationship with a programmed future. You know what you're gonna find in the app. You know how the pill is going to work. Programmed to remove any presence of womanhood or femininity, physically or virtually, restricting possibilities of action and interaction to its own image and representation. Your world is designed to consume your own image. That's one of the problems that I have with queerness, because most people who identify as queer, they actually fuck either something who looks like them or something who looks like the TV. So I'm like, girl, go home. It sounds shady, but it's like, hey, I've been saying that because now I have a bacteria that actually comes from vaginas, so I feel very, very, very counter-sexual. I'm dating a trans guy now. It is very personal, but this is one of the nicest experiences I ever had. Oh, do I have this fucking bacteria? I was supposed to go to Checkpoint today. Seriously, it's not a joke that my name is Lux Venerea. Like, I don't believe in these types of taboos. They were there anyways. But yeah, I still take help with the bacteria. So yes, I'm gonna read it again because now I'm talking shit. So algorithms. Oh my god. Algorithms, biomolecular and digital. I'm almost done. Algorithms, biomolecular and digital technologies, a social machinery of devices that constructs male subjectivity in a temporary relationship with a programmed future. Programmed to remove any presence of womanhood or femininity, physically or virtually, restricting possibilities of action and interaction to its own image or representation. Stigma is a system. Stigma is a software. People don't even realize, it feels very strong for me to say that, because every time people say stigma, I'm like, what the fuck are these people saying, bitch? People don't realize how programmed they are. Like, and it dialogues to that thing that I said. The people who get the most uncomfortable if you talk about HIV are the ones who don't have it. So another day, like, I was actually still detectable. I was in my old flat with my flatmate, and he came to me and he was like, hey bitch, have you got Band-Aids? I was like, no bitch, I only got regular AIDS. You see, HIV negative people are offended now. Wow. I said, no bitch, I only have regular AIDS. I used to be a homonormative, frustrated, stocky twink who was exclusively attracted to cis male, till I started to transition and got deleted by the software. And then I learned that desire is really not natural. I thought it was, but I had the whole world designed for my desire. It sounds very uncomfortable for people, for heterosexual people. Like, gays are fine with hearing that, but heterosexual people are like, what is she talking about? And you're like, bitch, have you seen the movie? Like, on the cinema? Have you been to the cinema? I'm like, and desire is not natural. It is social. It's the system. And system, I say, from cisgender. Gay culture is evil. Queer culture is suspicious. Suspicious. And again, I'm saying that you're evil, but do not act like I'm oppressing you. This is not a thing. This is not a thing. Do not come on like, she hates gay people. I'm like, wow. I am a problem. Wow. The oppression of this tranny. Yes, queer culture is suspicious, and not eating my ass is transphobia. And that's it. So now, to finish, I would like to invite everybody who did not feel offended, and especially the ones who felt offended, because I'm here for you, to follow me on Instagram. My Instagram is Lux Venerea, the way it's written. Follow me. And also, I am doing my medical transition now, and I'm very underdeveloped, very third world. I pay shit by myself. I help my mother. I'm so underdeveloped that the first time I got to Europe, my auntie was like, to Germany. First time I got to Germany, she was like, hey, have you been to London already? I was like, auntie, I'm in Germany. And then she was like, I thought it was all in the US. Like the US is literally the only thing that people know, like outside of Brazil. It's really crazy. So I just wanted to say that because I am accepting donations to laser my fucking beard. I spent a lot of time applying makeup, and I think if you believe in historical reparation, and if you come from a country that spent hundreds of years washing colonial money, I think you should give me money. I really do. I would do it if I was you, because you know, ethics. So where's the money now? I want the box and I want cash, please. From now on, I want help to get them. I'm serious. Like, it's very expensive to be here. Like, this world was not designed for me, as you can tell already. Yes, so I'm done. Don't forget about the donations. Don't forget about following me on I'm very funny if you're not if you're not sensitive. If you're not negative. If you're not negative.
Give it up for the
Now clap louder, bitch. Offended people in the back. Clap. You're in Switzerland. You're fine.